little late, but this is our BEA vlog from BEA Chicago 2016.
We needed to like take a break and like let it just like go over our trip. Our BEA trips are always so crazy because we're coming from Canada. It's like if we're going down to the States, we might as well make it into a big thing because
money.
It's like if we're already down there, we might as well stay, see stuff and do stuff. And so we'd never been to Chicago before. So we thought, you know, we have to tack on a few extra days so we can see Chicago. And most importantly, eat Chicago. That is the big thing. That is the thing, because when we saw it was in Chicago last year, I think I remember turning to you being like, pizza, dude.
Yeah, and I was like, And I think Chicago hates us.
Yeah, I think Chicago hates us.
Just does not like us.
No.
So we fly in the first evening and, you know, we're having fun, we go out, we see the town, we come back, and I'm like, oh, I've been carrying my umbrella all day, it's been kind of great, but I don't think I need it. We walk out of the house, and it's like no, it's misting rain. It's not so bad. It's
yeah, because you went under and stood under the thing, and I'm like, no, this is cool. This is cool.
And I'm looking at her like she's crazy, and she's like, no, I got this. I'm fine. And so we get on this bus, and this bus takes like a good half an hour. We're on this bus. None of us are paying attention, and we finally get to where we're supposed to get off, and I'm first off the bus, and it is like rain just bitch slapping me right across the face, and I actually made a sound. I was like, ooh, and the guy in front of me was just like started laughing because that was how bad it was raining, and she gets off behind me, and I don't know what sound you made, or
it was more of like
it was just like coming down from a faucet.
The Windy City thing is legit.
And so we're trying to figure out where we're supposed to go, because all this time we are trying to make it to the Cheesecake Factory. And so we end up running and getting on the subway train and going another stop, and we get down to get on another bus. And at this point, it is just like we're soaking. We are soaking, and the bus drives right by us. I'm like, shit.
I bought an umbrella.
Yeah, she buys an umbrella, and just as we're coming out of the pharmacy, the bus goes by us again. So it's just the two of us just huddling under this umbrella for like 12 minutes, just like, where is it? Do you see the bus?
It completely changed our day because we were having a pretty decent day. We went to the aquarium, we like walked around this park.
By the time we got to the Cheesecake Factory, like just drenched.
We were not completely dry probably till Wednesday.
Yeah.
Uber. We took Uber a lot. I dumped a lot of money into Uber. But the big deal was two of our friends were coming down to join us, and they were coming down the next day, and so they were driving, so we had to kill like 8 hours. So we went to the Field Museum, we saw the Terracotta Warriors. The Field Museum was amazing.
I would totally go back just to the Field Museum.
It was so cool. We saw like a movie on Africa, and like that was fun because it was 3D.
All the exhibits, it's huge, it's amazing, I love it.
They had a pyramid in there. And then there was this crazy exhibit that was empty that we went into, and it was like, you know, like underneath the earth. And they shrinked us down to little itty bitty size so we could go and like go up to bugs. It was fun. I was like, I hope they have like a little shrink room, and they legitly did.
But yeah, so we had two people who had never gone to BEA with us, and wow, watching their faces as we walked in the first morning, and we're like, no, pick it up. Take it. It's yours.
The night before, it was a lot of fun because we went out for pizza. We had the pizza. The pizza was amazing. Love the pizza. But then we sat around in our apartment that we were renting, and we all had spreadsheets and like checklists, and I had my iPad out, and we're like, you know, this book, we need to get this book, and like...
It was like a war council.
It was so much fun, because like there were some books that they noticed that we didn't notice, and books that we had noticed that they didn't notice, and so like trading things and making our plans, and it was just...
And then being like, no, this isn't all that you need. There is going to be so much that's just going to be thrown at you that you're going to have to make like split-second decisions about where you need to go and what you can get. And
you gotta be a realist here, because you're not going to read everything. You'll have to learn how to say no. But you got to think about what you are going to read, what you like reading.
Because there's so many books where you're like, you'll be reading it online and be like, yeah, that sounds interesting. Like, yeah, I would read that. But realistically, yes, you would read it, but there's so much else that you want to read, and new stuff is coming out all the time. You don't have time to read all the stuff that you're like, yeah, I would read that, this sounds interesting. It has to be the stuff that you were like, no, I need to read this.
It's like, we went into BEA knowing there were a few books that we knew we really wanted to get, and those were Gemina, A Torch Against the Night, Arabella of Mars, The Raven King. Oh, there was one that you had lined up for me that I had no idea about. It's an adorable story. But
I mean, basically it was like we were standing in line. I'm like, oh, yeah, there's a vampire book you're going to want to go get. You just go run and get it.
we were in the Torch Against the Night line, and it was like 2 hours.
It was a long
And so I'd like go over, and it's like I go up to this booth, and there is a guy there, and he is in a vampire cape, and the book is Dracula FAQ, and so it's like a big reference book on vampires in history, pop culture, mythology, and I like take one look at it and I'm like, this is my shit.
I knew you would want that
Yeah.
book. Yeah, so BEA was super busy. I came back with maybe 60 books. Like, I kept my numbers down, and there wasn't really a lot that I left behind and couldn't take home. And I'm very proud of that, because the first year at BEA was just, it was a nightmare, and I felt so bad. We saw so many amazing authors. We ended up talking to some publishers, which was good for us. We got pretty much everything we wanted. Or at least one of us got a copy of something that we wanted. There's a couple that got away, mainly Vasa in the Night.
Yeah, I wanted that so bad.
I love Macmillan, but the way they set up their system was like you had to get the tickets at 9 and at 1, and sometimes they weren't on time with their tickets, and also there was no way to know, so when we went to go line up for Vasa in the Night, they're like, we gave out tickets at like 1, and we're like, what? That was really sad.
Sometimes we did get really lucky, like with The Passage, we went over and the guy was out of tickets and he's like, you know, I'm sorry, but we do have a lot of books. So if you want to stick around, you might be able to get a book. Like, the line is really short, there's probably about 10 to 15 people in front of you.
Yeah.
Just stay. And we did, and we talked to the guy, and he came back and he's like, oh, I have more tickets, take tickets. So we got The Passage.
This was at BookCon, and we listened to him on a panel with Scott Siegler, Naomi Novik, and Pierce Brown, and that was adorable in itself because it was a panel called The Unwritten, the stories that you haven't written yet. Mainly it devolved into their writing methods, and it was really cute to watch them geek out over writing and just listen to them all have like completely different methods for writing their books.
I love Justin Cronin. He's like, I write when I run. And I'm just like, I wish I could do that. We learned about different Buffy pairings.
Yeah.
Like, everyone at the table had different Buffy pairings.
Because apparently Naomi Novik writes a lot of fan fiction in her downtime to kind of like help her relax. And so she's a big Buffy fan fiction person. All the other authors were like, oh, what? You write Buffy fan fiction? Tell me everything.
Yeah, it was really, really cute.
And then Pierce Brown had his editor as the moderator.
And like clearly they're best friends, and that was adorable.
And like the editor would just like chime in like, see Pierce, you're doing it wrong. And it was just like, it was cute. It was adorable. We didn't unfortunately get a signing of Red Rising, which would have been cool, but
he's working on another trilogy, so maybe he'll come to Canada? I went to the teen, Chelsey signed me up for like the teen breakfast.
I didn't sign her up, okay?
God.
It was a competition and I put her name and my name in. You just happened to have the fates smile upon you.
How old did you say I was?
I have no idea. I remember thinking after I submitted my application, oh, I wonder if my age is going to affect this, but I don't remember whether
I was clearly too old to be there. It was a lot of fun. I ended up hanging out with a group of teenagers and talking about different books that they were interested in and talked to a bunch of authors. And it was a competition. It was a game. There were 3 rounds. My team won! Go Team 6. And thus began me with the epic pay it forward.
Yeah, she was just doing good deeds left and right. It was like heartwarming to watch. I wanted to like social media the crap out of her, except that it would seem
self-promoting.
Yeah, it was really adorable to watch.
I don't know if I was doing this just to like combat the karma of Chicago. Just because we were having such bad luck with everything that wasn't BookCon or Book Expo. Just like buses and the weather, and it was just crummy, so I was just like,
take it.
do nice things. I read this post on Tumblr a few weeks ago, and I reblog it every once in a while. Just like, you know, when life is shitty and you're having a shitty time, that's the best time to do nice things for other people.
Aww,
because
cute.
it's like, because you're making an effort and you don't know what the other person, their day is like. I'm just like, yeah. One of my goals of 2016 was to be nicer.
Oh, mission accomplished. What else you got?
Keep being nice. Do good things. I don't know. I like being nice. Surprise! I'm not an awful person.
Surprise, you have a beating heart in there
I do. It's tiny and it's like kind of made of stone and it's kind of ice. But every once in a while it moves.
So we had an amazing time at BookCon BEA. The one thing I noticed was, Jesus, how many women, like, this is a good thing obviously, but like how many women are readers, because I didn't quite pay attention so much at BEA, and I think the numbers were a little less because you've got more industry professionals, but especially at BookCon, I'm gonna go with like a good 85 to 90% of the people there were women. Insane!
Yeah.
It was like 10,000 women just in a room.
Books.
Yeah! I was impressed. And I'm like, well, I see where your audience is.
We had other Chicago adventures as well. Like the day after BookCon, we slept in.
Oh my god.
It was amazing. We slept in and then we went to the Chicago History Museum where Chelsey and I immortalized our faces on the one wall. And so we wandered around that museum. What were they called? The
Diorama?
dioramas were cool.
Especially like the one about the Chicago World's Fair.
Yeah, that is why I wanted to go to this museum, because there were two things I wanted to learn about in Chicago, and they were totally influenced by the one book.
Yeah, Devil in the White City.
Devil in the White City.
Eric Larson.
I wanted to learn about the Chicago World's Fair because, one, I come from a carnival family. So it's interesting. And it's like a big deal. And
Chicago did it well.
And H.H. Holmes.
Weird obsession.
Weird obsession with H.H. Holmes, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was lore. I don't know if it was last podcast on the left. I don't know if it was freaking supernatural. First American serial killer.
And this guy went big.
And
like big. Just look this guy up.
It's so messed up, and it's just so awful, and it's terrifying, and just because like
if you want a good explanation, last podcast on the left.
Yeah, they I think it's a 4-part.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
3 or 4 part, and they just like break it down, and it's kind of scary because he was targeting basically us.
Yeah.
Like,
ugh.
And it's creepy, and just he built this like awful, awful murder castle that was a hotel, and just
he was, yeah.
It's
anyway.
horrifying, and it's crazy, and like I was like, this is a big deal. Like, nothing, and I was just like, oh.
I don't think I've ever seen a serial killer in a museum, though.
And so then we went to the Cheesecake Factory again. We went there a total of 3 times. We had Chicago-style pizza twice. We went to this amazing Italian restaurant. Had real Caesar salad. It was so good. I don't think I can ever go back.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
I love all the walking. Like, at BEA,
yeah.
I adore it. It is what I look forward to because, like, I'm not a runner at all. But I love hiking, like, I love walking, I love moving, so if I could just, like, you know, get a job where I had to walk places,
the best way to get to know a city is to walk the city, and we walked the city, especially on the last day because we walked from the museum to the Cheesecake Factory, so that took us through the downtown core, and we saw some really awesome buildings.
It was good.
It was good. Our last night, we went to Second City, which is, like, a big deal. Mm-hmm. Because you've gone to Second City a lot in Toronto. When I was in high school, I competed for improv, so it was like, yes, let's do Second City. And the show was hilarious.
It was called #DateMe and OkCupid experiment, where this woman had made all these different profiles for these different people. Like, you know, she had the crazy cat lady, she had the partier, and she kind of saw what worked on the website and what got responses, and that was really cool. Mm-hmm. Really fun.
Very insightful, very funny, very heartfelt. Mm-hmm. And then we went down, they had just opened up like a new bar in the basement, and it was really pretty.
Oh yeah, it was a nice
And
bar.
so we just kind of hung out there for a while and
chatted and
had like, you know, a nice kind of quiet night.
Yeah.
Because like, the thing about going to like Book Expo and BookCon is
every day.
You go and you just keep going, and like it's a lot of fun and you meet a lot of interesting people and you get a lot of great books, but it's exhausting.
I don't know how we did it last year when we did 5 straight days because BookCon was 2 days.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I liked the fact that we could see more panels that way. I really enjoy the panels actually. I'm sad we kind of didn't get a chance to get more, but at the same time, you know, books. So that was our trip to BEA and BookCon. I've since realized that people call it BEA, and I think that is too much physical effort for the amount that we say the word, so...
Yeah. So now we have to wait another year.
Still technically more than 365 days because it's in June next year. And in New York!
We're going back to New York, and I'm so excited to go back to New York.
I love New York.
We're gonna go to the Tenement Museum.
Oh, yes!
We're gonna go to Carmine's.
And we were talking about the Tenement Museum in a line, and no, I think I was with Rebecca, and some guy in front of me turns and he's just like, yes, the Tenement Museum is awesome. I was like, somebody else knows.
Go back to the Met, because the Met is lovely. I love the Met.
And we're totally going back to the comedy clubs.
Yes.
Because that has been amazing every time we've went.
Yes. We might even go to the creek in the cave.
Okay, that was our episode, guys. We will talk to you later.